So we bring you another installment in our ongoing story about California and its long descent from a middle-class utopia, an inspiration to the rest of the world, to the kind of place that Donald Trump wouldn't want immigration from. For example, third world countries are known for election fraud. California's DMV has just admitted to accidentally registering more than 1,500 non-citizens to vote. Los Angeles, meanwhile, is grappling with an epidemic of typhus, in this country, typhus. In San Francisco, an app called Snapcrap, disgusting but true, has just launched to help residents there report local waste on the sidewalk to the government. Victor Davis Hanson is, like me, a native Californian. He's a senior fellow at the Hoover Institution. His family's been there for 6 generations in the same house. He joins us tonight. Victor Davis Hanson, it's an honor to have you on the set.
Thank you.
After all these years of talking to you by remote. So let's just stand back really quickly and ask the obvious question. How did the greatest state go to what it is now?
You know, it was a perfect storm, Tucker. First of all, we had $3 trillion come in for capitalization of Facebook, Google, and Apple, and it convinced millions of people in that area where the money was concentrated, Hollywood, the big universities along that coast, that they were not subject to the ramifications of their own ideology. So they could afford to dream and have all of these restrictions, greater regulations, green utopian ideas, and it was always going to affect other people, mostly in the interior, but not always. So housing went up because of the regulations, small businesses fled, taxes. We had the highest basket of gasoline sales and income taxes in the 9 states.
But that doesn't make sense. I mean, the taxes in Saudi Arabia are very low because they have, like the Bay Area, this like.
But there were other elements to this disaster, unfortunately. We had about 10 to 15 million people who came across the southern border without legality, without English, without a high school diploma, and not on a meritocratic basis. So all of a sudden, California became a medieval society. It's like a keep. The coastal strip is the castle keep where the elite live, and everybody else serves them, and the middle class has fled, and we have 1/3 of all welfare recipients in the United States. 20% of the state lives below the poverty line, yet we have the most billionaires. So it's a pre-modern and it's a postmodern society where you pay taxes and you get schools that are 46 in the nation and infrastructure that Forbes rated 49. Thank God for Mississippi.
So the rest of Arkansas used to say that. Now it's California. Yeah. So the rest of us and our viewers who don't live in California must be thinking, well, okay, but what does this have to do with us? Should we be worried about this in the rest of the country?
Yeah, I think so, because California gave us Deukmejian, Reagan, Pete Wilson, and it was sudden. It flipped suddenly to a one-party state, and that was this weird new combination of the Democratic Party. It's a pyramidal society where very wealthy, America's wealthy people are left-wing now. They're very ultra-wealthy.
Yes.
And then they have a subsidized poor on the bottom, and that was the paradigm that over-regulated, overtaxed, and sent people out of the state.
But can I ask one question that I honestly don't understand? So let's say you're the 41-year-old multi-billionaire who owns Twitter, and 10 minutes away, people are dying of ODs on the sidewalk. Why don't you do something? I mean, Carnegie would have, Rockefeller would have.
You feel guilty about your wealth, so in the abstract, you can afford to be left-wing and help the, quote, poor, while your kids go to in the Menlo Park, Sacred Heart, or Castanea.
Yeah.
And then you have a big walls. Remember, walls don't work on the southern border, but they sure work in Atherton and Hillsborough around your estate.
Yes.
So you have ways with your power, wealth, and influence and navigate around the ramifications of your own ideology, and that's what they do.
But you'd think they would want to help the people right outside their door.
You'd think so. You go to Redwood City, which is the service area for Silicon Valley, and poor Mexican-American people are living 6 and 7 families to a house, right under the noses of these people. So I don't think they're very liberal at all.
No, they're not. They're not liberal at all.
No, and they've ruined the state.
It's so depressing. I'm so glad that you're here with us.
I'm glad to be here.
Our viewers love you, so thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.